one of the stories we probably don't hear enough of in the long, grinding war of Syria is those of ordinary Syrians caught up on both sides of this conflict and how they have got by. For those caught up in some of the rebel areas and the long sieges, life is, as they put it, and you hear this word so much, a hell, a living hell. This is what people emerging onto the streets in eastern Ghouta had to say to us today. And we went there very much, I should stress, under military control. But this was their word, this was their view, and this was their way somehow of surviving and telling their stories.
And so it is that this week, for the first time in 7 years of war, the Syrian capital and suburbs are wholly under government control. With a little help, of course, from Russia and Iran. Smoke no longer rises on the Damascus skyline. The noise is traffic, not the thump of distant detonation. But travel into eastern Damascus, and there's birdsong in the ghostly, largely silent legacy of war. On to the old front line during 5 years of siege of eastern Ghouta, and the government flag hoisted this morning. Then into the broken landscape of Ghouta itself. The local Syrian army commander keen to list the spoils of victory.
We found loads of their support and equipment here, like shell and rocket factories, mines and homemade explosive devices, also underground field hospitals.
For security reasons, we couldn't identify him, his rank or unit. Over the road, President Assad stares out over the destruction. His officers, though, confident these days to discuss the politics of this ever more international war.
The British, the Americans, the French, they continue to bomb the positions of Bashar al-Assad. What do you say to the British?
Syria is like Yemen, like Libya. What did you achieve in Iraq? The president went, but then what? Libya, the president went, but then what? Just destruction, devastation. You're not doing this for freedom. You're just doing this for your own interests.
Just, of course, what critics would accuse Damascus, Tehran and Moscow of doing. But it was time to get out into these shattered streets. Slowly, they return. A few thousand among the several 100,000 who once lived here. Emerging from the horrors, the bombardment by Syrian, Russian and Iranian forces externally, and internally the hell, so many use that word here, of life under the fighters of the militant Islamic groups who controlled East Ghouta. Shaking uncontrollably, one man tells his tale in a place where few will give their names.
They wanted me to fight for them. I said no, so they dragged me off to their base. I was there 6 days. They beat me 6 or 7 times on a wheel. I said, just write whatever you want about me. Then they set me free, but they took my fingerprints and smashed my finger with a hammer.
One man told them that they were doing wrong. We later heard that they had killed him. There were public executions and they had underground prisons.
It was a living death, a terrible existence, a life without meaning. We were the living dead.
We approached 2 women with sick children, and both used that word again, hell.
We lived in hell. We didn't have anything. No power, no water. The rebels cut off everything. They stopped food getting to the children. Now, thank God, we have got him to the doctor. But look at his face. He was under the siege.
It is true we were accompanied at all times by armed soldiers. It is also true, though, that everyone we spoke to said more or less the same things, and not least talked about the presence of foreign fighters in the rebel Islamist ranks.
We used to see strange-looking faces for Syria, odd features. They looked like Saudis. They didn't introduce themselves.
These accounts corroborated by the army, who said they'd found Saudi IDs and showed us at least one number plate they said was from the Gulf. So why didn't these people simply leave this hell, get out by any means possible? Some say they had businesses and homes to protect. Most, though, simply said this.
They shut down everything. They stopped us leaving. If anyone tried to leave, they would kill them.
Those that stayed, those that returned begin the long haul back to the life before. In a war which may have ended around the capital, but still has months of bloodletting to run elsewhere.
Well, as I said a moment or two ago, no celebrations on the street for the obvious reasons. This war still has many, many months to unfold here, both in the north, large rebel-held areas held there, and even just 90 minutes or so by car south of this city towards the Israeli and Jordanian frontier. Rebels holding out there as well. This has, as I say, quite a considerable period and quite a lot of bloodshed, no doubt, still to unfold here.